You ever get that weird, gnawing feeling that something's off, but you can't explain it? Like when you order garlic bread and it shows up cold, you don't complain, but you know the universe just blinked at you funny. That was me. Only instead of garlic bread, it was my wife, Erin. And instead of cold, she was oddly warm. Not in a loving way, more like an actress trying to keep a poker face at a surprise party she didn't want to attend. We've been married 7 years. That sounds like the kind of number a game show host says just before the contestant gets slimed. I'm not bitter, just observant. Things had changed. I wasn't blind. I just preferred the comfort of routine over the chaos of truth. She was still affectionate, sure. Still smiled. Still made her weird peanut butter and pickle sandwiches. But there was this distance in the way she hugged me, like a stewardess buckling in a crash dummy. Anyway, Thursday night, I remember it clear as a confession. I got home late from work. I'm in software testing, which sounds cooler than it is unless your dream is to argue with printers that jam for a living. Erin was already in her yoga pants, hair up, candle burning in the living room. Everything smelled like sage and eucalyptus and something citrusy. "You're home late," she said, with a soft tone I used to call sweet and now just call buffering. "Yeah," I replied, loosening my tie, had to fix Jenkins again. She nodded, then turned back to her phone. Her fingers moved fast, smiling at whatever wasn't me. I told myself it was probably a meme or one of her sisters. Probably. "I ordered us dinner," she added, almost as an afterthought. "I thought we could relax and watch something." I sat down. "Nice. What did you get?" "Pasta. From that new place. Italian, Marco's, I think." That made me pause. "Marco's? That place that takes like an hour to deliver?" She didn't look up. "Yeah, but their fettuccine is worth it." I chuckled. "Only if it shows up this week." And then, 15 minutes later, my entire reality came wrapped in brown paper with a receipt and a side of confusion. The doorbell rang. I opened the door and saw a guy in a delivery uniform, mid-30s, beard trimmed, a baseball cap with the restaurant's logo tilted just a bit too perfectly. He blinked at me, then gave a confused smile. "Oh, Marco's delivery for Erin." I nodded and reached for the bag. "Thanks, man. Right on time." Then he said it, casually, like it was just weather talk. "But I was already here today." I froze mid-grab. "Excuse me." He scratched the back of his neck. "Yeah, I thought it was weird. Same name, same address. Earlier today, I dropped off a lunch order. Chicken piccata, side of tiramisu. I remember 'cause it was 2 bags, and your wife was super specific about the sauce." I stared at him. My brain didn't process the words so much as feel them, like ice water poured straight down the spine. "She said she was working from home," he added. "Maybe she got hungry." I forced a smile, took the bag, and said, "Yeah, she's got a thing for sauce." He nodded and walked off, headphones in, humming like he hadn't just casually detonated my evening. I closed the door slowly, carefully. The house was silent behind me. I carried the food to the kitchen like it weighed 100 pounds. Erin looked up, smiling faintly. "Everything okay?" I set the bag down. "Yeah. Just, the delivery guy's memory is impressive." "Huh?" she asked, her face neutral. "He said he was here earlier." I watched her carefully. And for the briefest moment, just a flicker, I saw it. The blink. The microsecond scramble behind her eyes. The half-glitch that always shows up before a lie. "Oh," she said, reaching for the pasta. "Weird. Maybe he's mistaken. Maybe. Maybe not." I didn't push it that night. Didn't raise my voice. Didn't even ask again. See, when you think you're being lied to, the worst thing you can do is chase the lie. You let it run. Lies are like raccoons. If you corner one, it'll scratch your eyes out. But if you leave the back door open and a trail of breadcrumbs, eventually it'll lead you straight to its nest. So I nodded, smiled, and said, "Guess he was just confused." We ate dinner. Erin talked about a show she wanted to binge. I nodded at all the right spots. I even laughed when she said she couldn't believe how bad the garlic bread was. Ironic, really. After we ate, she showered. Said she was tired. Needed to sleep early. I offered to do the dishes. She looked almost relieved. That was the first time it hit me. She wasn't being distant because she was angry. She was being careful. That night, I didn't sleep. I lay there beside her, watching the rise and fall of her breath, wondering who else had seen her like this recently. Wondering if the same head that rested on my chest 2 nights ago had been somewhere else the day before, whispering into a different heartbeat. The next morning, I played it cool. Made coffee. Kissed her on the cheek. Working from home today? I asked, casual as linen. She nodded, scrolling through her phone. Yeah, got some reports to finish. I waited until I heard the shower start. Then I grabbed my laptop and sat at the kitchen table. That's when I started the recon. First, Marco's Italian Kitchen. Website. Order history. She hadn't used her account. No record of lunch. But Marco's had guest checkout. Slippery, but not invisible. Second, bank statement. The last few days, nothing from Marco's. Nothing at all. Third, trash can. Top layer had last night's boxes. I dug deeper. Bingo. One empty container labeled chicken piccata, no capers, extra lemon, side tiramisu, timestamped. A receipt stapled to the lid. Printed 12:42 p.m. yesterday. She had ordered lunch. Alone. Or maybe not alone. Either way, she didn't tell me. Now, I know what you're thinking. Come on, man. It's just lunch. Yeah, sure. And an iceberg is just ice. Until you're the Titanic. But here's where things got weird. That afternoon, I got a text from Aaron. Hey babe, want Thai tonight? I'll order it for delivery, red heart. I said sure. Didn't think twice. Except, I kinda did. This time, I had a plan. I placed my own order first. Same restaurant. Same address. 10 minutes after hers. Different name. An hour later, a knock. I opened the door, and there he was, the same delivery guy. Slightly sweatier. Still humming. He looked up at me, confused. Wait, didn't I just drop off food here 10 minutes ago? I smiled. Yeah, you did. He tilted his head. Weird. I thought it was a mistake. The girl who opened the door said she didn't order anything else. Now I tilted my head. You delivered it to her? He nodded. Blonde. Kinda short. Ponytail. Same address. Just now. I smiled again. But this time, it wasn't warm. Thanks, I said, taking the second back. He walked away. No idea he'd just helped set the fuse. When I got inside, I found Erin on the couch. Feet up. Wine glass in hand. She glanced at the second bag in my hand. I was flicking sharp for just a moment. I thought we were sharing, she said, almost too fast. We are, I replied. I just wanted to make sure it was right. She forced a chuckle. Overkill much? Yes, I just didn't want to miss the sauce again. Her smile didn't reach her eyes. Neither did the lie. It was a Saturday. That kind of gray, drizzly afternoon where you don't really want to leave the house, but the house doesn't feel like home either. Erin had gone out to run errands. I didn't ask what kind. I didn't need to. Instead, I made one phone call. Marco's Italian Kitchen. A guy named Tyler answered, upbeat and breezy. Hey, Tyler, right? Quick question. Do you remember a delivery to this address a couple days ago? Midday? Blonde woman, chicken piccata? He hesitated. I mean, maybe. We do a lot of deliveries. I kept my tone light. Totally. Just curious because the driver said he was here twice that day. Just making sure our info's not mixed up or anything. Tyler paused again. Oh, yeah. I remember that, actually. Our guy Caleb mentioned it. Said he dropped off food to a woman and she seemed kinda nervous. Said someone else was with her, but they didn't come to the door. I froze. Did he say what the other person looked like? Tyler chuckled awkwardly. Not really. Just said he saw shoes by the door, big ones. Men's. I let that hang in the air. Cool, I said. Thanks, man. I hung up. Now, here's where things got weird. Or, well, weirder. I decided to order something. Not food. A package. A nice, shiny tech gadget Erin had mentioned she wanted, some Bluetooth speakers she saw on TikTok. I went to the website, placed the order, and opted for same-day delivery. I wanted to surprise her. But more than that, I wanted to watch what happened. I used a nickname she hated. 2E. Babe. Just enough detail to make her raise an eyebrow. The app said it would be delivered around 4:30 p.m. At 4:27 p.m., I heard the knock. I didn't go to the door. I waited. I heard voices. The delivery guy. And Erin. And then, silence. Then came the sound of the door unlocking. I walked toward the foyer. The box was sitting on the floor. Erin was standing nearby, frozen. And the delivery guy? Gone. I looked at the package, then looked at her. Everything okay? I asked. She nodded, too quickly. Yeah, just surprised me. Wasn't expecting anything. I picked up the box and looked out the window. That's when I saw him. The delivery driver. Standing at the edge of the driveway. Staring at his phone. Then at the house. then at me. When our eyes met, he froze. Then he gave the world's most awkward wave and climbed into his van. I opened the door. Hey, I called. He paused halfway in the seat. Yeah, thanks for the drop-off, I said, voice steady. You've got a good memory. He gave a sheepish grin. Yeah, about that. I raised an eyebrow. You must really like food, he said. What do you mean? He scratched his head. I was here earlier this week, right? But the lady, your wife, she said you had already ordered lunch that day. Even tipped me good. My heart didn't skip a beat. It slammed against my ribs like it wanted out. I didn't order lunch, I said calmly. He blinked. Really? That's weird. Yeah, I replied, it is. We stared at each other a second longer. Then he nodded, backed out of the driveway, and vanished down the road. I stepped back inside and shut the door. Aaron stood there, arms crossed. What was that about? I set the box on the table. He said I ordered lunch the other day. She didn't say anything. Did I? She shook her head. He must have gotten confused. I nodded slowly. He's getting very confused lately, I said. First, he remembers your lunch. Then he remembers your shoes. Then he remembers me ordering something I didn't. She didn't blink, but she didn't speak either. So I gave her one more gift. One final delivery. I checked the security camera. That got her. Her mouth opened just slightly, like a door that didn't want to creak. But we don't have a. I raised a hand. We do now. Put one up last week. Thought it'd help with all the surprise meals. I walked past her and into the den. Opened my laptop. Clicked play. And there, as crisp as Betrayal in HD, was the footage. Wednesday afternoon. Doorbell. Caleb the delivery guy. Aaron opening the door, all smiles. And behind her? A man. Blurry. Just a figure. But definitely a man. Standing in my house. At my table. Wearing my slippers. There's something uniquely unsettling about watching a man wear your slippers in your house. It's not just the invasion, it's the casualness. Like watching someone else read your favorite book in your chair, dog-earing the pages like they own it. Like they've always owned it. I watched the video again. There he was. Taller than me by a few inches, lean, dark hair. Couldn't make out his face. He never turned toward the camera. But I saw enough. He didn't look like a stranger. He looked like a routine. The way he placed his hand on the counter. The way he grabbed the fridge handle like he knew which shelf the water was on. He moved like a man who had been here before. Erin stood behind me, silent. Her arms still crossed. 1,000 things she could have said, but she didn't say a word. Smart move. The silence did all the talking anyway. I clicked pause. That your yoga instructor? I asked without looking up. Nothing. Erin. She shifted. You're making this into something it's not. Oh, I said. So that is you in the video? Still nothing. I mean, it's either you or you've got an identical twin with excellent taste in betrayal. Finally, her voice cracked. I didn't think. No, I cut in. You did. That's the problem. She looked at me, the beginning of tears in her eyes. I could tell she was prepping for the speech. The emotional monologue. Regret, confusion, maybe a little righteous indignation thrown in for good measure. So I got there first. Save it, I said. Please. Don't insult me with sincerity now. You're not sorry, I know. You're sorry I found out. Her mouth opened, then closed. She looked down. You brought him into our home, I said. My voice was low. Even. You brought him into my space and let him walk around in my slippers. I was lonely, she whispered. I let that hang in the air. Lonely? I echoed. Lonely? Aaron? You have a husband who's never once raised his voice to you, never stopped loving you even when you got distant. And lonely is the word you landed on. It wasn't like that, she said. It just happened. It wasn't supposed to. I stood. Not fast. Not aggressive. Just deliberate. Don't say it wasn't supposed to happen. You know what isn't supposed to happen? Fires in libraries. Spoons in electrical sockets. This. I pointed at the screen. This was scheduled. You made lunch plans with betrayal. She flinched. I walked to the fridge. Grabbed a bottle of water. Twisted the cap off slowly. You could have just told me, I said, voice softer now. You could have looked me in the eyes and said, hey, I think I might set our marriage on fire today. I might have appreciated the honesty. Erin leaned against the counter. She looked smaller now. Her shoulders drooped like the weight of her own lies had finally settled in. Do you love him? I asked. She shook her head. Do you even know what love is? I added, and this time, she looked at me like she'd swallowed glass. And maybe she had. Because the truth, when it finally hits, doesn't explode. It corrodes. Slowly. Quietly. Like rust eating through the foundation. I didn't mean to hurt you, she whispered. I laughed. But you didn't try not to either. She sniffed. Tried to hold back the tears. And I let her. I watched them slide down her cheeks without offering a tissue. I used to wipe those tears for her. Now, they just looked like part of the costume. I sipped my water. Here's the part where I say something noble, I said. Something like, we can work through this, or, everyone makes mistakes. She looked up, hopeful. But I'm not going to say that. The hope dropped like a stone. I'm going to say this, you've got 72 hours. She blinked. What? You heard me. 3 days. Pack what's yours. Leave the slippers. Logan. No, I said. Don't say my name like it still belongs in your mouth. Her eyes burned, now properly filled with tears. Where am I supposed to go? That's the beautiful part, I said, setting my bottle down. You get to be with him now. The man behind the scenes. The great magician who made your vows disappear. She stepped toward me. I stepped back. Don't. She froze. I'll sleep on the couch, I said. Not because I'm weak. Because I want you to feel every inch of this house alone. I want you to sit with it. Breathe it. Liven the echo. She opened her mouth again. Then shut it. I'm not angry, I said. I'm aware. That's more dangerous. She nodded, finally understanding what I'd been saying without ever raising my voice. And just like that, I walked past her, down the hallway, into the guest room, closed the door, and started making my plan. Because here's the thing about betrayal, it doesn't deserve justice. It deserves design. And I was just getting started. People think revenge is loud. They picture it with slamming doors, shouting matches, dramatic exits. But the truth is, real revenge is quiet. It doesn't rush. It doesn't scream. It waits. I spent that night in the guest room, flat on my back, staring at the ceiling fan as it spun slowly like the second hand of a broken clock. Every creak of the house felt new. Foreign. This wasn't my home anymore. It was just a crime scene where the chalk outline hadn't been drawn yet. Erin didn't knock. She didn't peek in. She knew better. Good. That meant the message had landed. By morning, I was already awake, sipping coffee at the dining table before the sun even cracked the blinds. Erin shuffled in, wearing her guilt like a bathrobe. No makeup. No lies ready. Just silence and messy hair. I didn't offer her a seat. I didn't say a word. She poured herself some coffee and stood by the sink. No eye contact. She must have thought I was stewing. Wrong. I was building. After breakfast, I went to the garage. Pried open the old moving boxes we hadn't touched since we moved in. It was all there. Old tax returns, utility bills, receipts, joint accounts, Erin's documents. She had no idea how open her life was to me. She thought I was just a guy who folded laundry wrong and forgot to buy oat milk. But I kept track of things. Quietly. Thoroughly. I started a list. Not of her sins. I didn't need a diary of disappointment, but of her dependencies. Car title, my name. Health insurance, my employer. Streaming services, credit cards, even the Spotify account, mine. She used my login to cheat on me. That would be corrected. Next, I checked her phone records. You'd be amazed what you can access when you pay the bills. There he was, unknown number, calling at weird hours. Lunchtime. Late at night. Saturdays when I was running errands. I matched the timestamps to security footage from the new camera I installed. You know what I found? His car. Parked halfway up the block 2 Wednesdays ago. That same cheap black Honda with a bumper sticker that said, I brake for no one. Real poetic, considering where this was headed. I copied the plate number down. I had a friend at the DMV who owed me a favor. Now, some would say I was being obsessive. But this wasn't obsession. This was preparation. I wasn't looking to punish her. I was looking to educate her. On Sunday, she finally spoke. I'll go stay with my sister, she said over her half-eaten bowl of cereal. No, I replied. She blinked. What? You're going to stay right here. Until your time is up. Why? I met her eyes for the first time in 2 days. Because I want you to feel it. Every quiet moment. Every awkward meal. Every second where your phone buzzes and you wish it was him, but it's just spam. She opened her mouth, then closed it. There wasn't a defense for that. Just shame, and the dull taste of betrayal lingering behind her teeth. She didn't know it, but I had already started preparing the documents. I had reached out to a lawyer. Explained everything. Collected evidence. Kept my tone professional. My lawyer, bless his soul, was a former Marine with the emotional range of a brick. But when he saw the camera footage and the timeline I handed him, he muttered, "Jesus. She didn't even try to hide it." I nodded. "I know." He handed me a file. "You sure you want to do this, Smart? I've done stupid. Time to upgrade." I gave Erin the final 24-hour warning that night. "You've got until 5 p.m. tomorrow." She sat on the edge of the couch, hunched over like someone waiting for a verdict. Maybe in her mind, she still hoped for a miracle. A tearful reunion. A speech about forgiveness. But all she got was the deadline. At 4:50 the next day, she wheeled a single suitcase to the door. She didn't cry. She didn't apologize. She just turned and asked, "Is this what you really want?" I stood there, arms crossed. "No," I said. "What I really wanted was a marriage. But you traded that for excitement. This is just what you've earned." That hit her. Not like a slap. No, something quieter. A gut punch you don't feel until you try to stand up and realize you're winded. She nodded, then left. And I locked the door behind her. Not out of spite. Not to keep her out. But to keep me in. Safe. Clean. Alone, yes, but finally clear. That night, I pulled up his name. I had it now, thanks to the license plate and a little digging. Full name. Employment info. Social media. Even a Yelp review where he complained about slow service at a tire shop like it was a war crime. I wasn't going to ruin him. No, I was going to let him live with her. Let him feel what it's like to be Plan B while she scrolls through her phone, wondering if there's a Plan C. Let him listen to her explain how she needs space after intimacy. Let him one day find an old receipt, or hear a knock at the door from a delivery guy who says, thought I was just here." Because the worst revenge isn't destruction. It's replacement. Let them have each other. They'll think it's a happy ending. Until it's not. And I'll be somewhere else by then smiling. Rebuilt. Quietly undefeated. 3 weeks. That's how long it had been since she walked out with her little roller suitcase, and that defeated look she probably practiced in the mirror. Long enough for the silence in the house to become a companion instead of a warning sign. Long enough to realize peace doesn't make a sound, it just stays. And me? I'd started running again. 5 miles every morning before work. Nothing fancy, just me, the sidewalk, and a playlist full of songs I used to skip when she was in the car. I'd also started sleeping through the night. Funny how quickly the body recovers once it stops bracing for lies between the sheets. But the biggest change? I stopped checking her social media. No curiosity. No hate scrolling. No secret need to see if she looked regretful, or radiant, or wrecked. I didn't need to see her anymore. Because I was finally starting to see me again. And then came the email. Subject line, "Can we talk?" No caps. No punctuation. Just those 4 words, typed like she ran out of breath halfway through. I stared at it for 5 minutes. Didn't open it. Didn't need to. I already knew what it would say. Something between an apology and a justification, with just enough passive regret to make her feel noble. I closed the browser and went back to my coffee. But later that night, when the quiet got too loud, I opened it anyway. "Logan. I know I'm the last person you want to hear from, but I just need to say some things. I've been staying with my cousin for now. Not with him. Just so you know. It's hard to explain what happened. Not because I don't know, but because I don't know if I even understand myself anymore. I messed up. I hurt you. I know that. I keep thinking about our wedding. How sure we were. How easy everything felt back then. I don't know when it stopped feeling easy. I just know that somewhere along the way, I stopped being someone I liked. I wish I could take it back. I'd undo everything if I could. I miss you. If you ever want to talk, please." No signature. Just white space and guilt. She hadn't attached a return address. But she'd left a window open. And I had just the right breeze for it. I didn't reply. Instead, I mailed her something. Just an envelope. Inside it, I placed 2 things. A copy of the receipt from our new security camera, the one that caught her boyfriend's shadow standing in our hallway like he paid rent. A typed note. Nothing dramatic. Just, "You're not the woman I married. And I'm no longer the man who would stay anyway. Best of luck. You'll need it. L." She got it 3 days later. I know because she texted me. "You didn't have to be cruel." I didn't reply. Because that wasn't cruelty. That was clarity. A few days later, I ran into someone who didn't know the marriage had fallen apart. Frank from accounting. Harmless guy. Sweater vests, too many pins in the front pocket. The kind of man who still prints emails just in case. He saw me in the break room and smiled wide. "Hey, Logan. How's the missus?" There it was. I paused, then smiled right back. "She's a free agent," I said, sipping my coffee. So am I. His smile faltered. Oh, I didn't know. It's okay, I said calmly. Neither did I. For a while. He nodded slowly, like he'd just stumbled across a landmine disguised as small talk. I patted him on the shoulder. Don't worry, I added. Turns out, getting cheated on is a great way to get your cardio back. He gave a nervous laugh, unsure if it was okay to laugh. It was. That weekend, I went to the hardware store, bought a new mailbox. Sleek, steel, lockable. Installed it myself. The old one? I smashed it. Not out of anger. Just symbolism. That mailbox had accepted lies for years. Little love notes to someone else. Secret receipts. Packages I thought were for us but were meant for him. No more. This one would only receive truth, even if that truth was silence. I ran into Caleb, the delivery guy, at Marco's the following Tuesday. He was picking up an order, earbuds dangling. He did a double take when he saw me. Hey, man, he said, cautious. I smiled. Hey, you remember me? He nodded. Yeah. I felt bad about that whole thing. You didn't do anything wrong, I said. You just delivered the food. He relaxed. Still. Felt weird. Like I was part of something I didn't want to be in. I laughed softly. Yeah, that makes two of us. I patted him on the arm. Next time you deliver lunch to a married woman, I said with a wink, check if she's wearing slippers. If they're 2 sizes too big, you might be delivering more than pasta. He blinked, then laughed. I'll remember that. By the end of the month, my house looked different. Cleaner. Simpler. I'd repainted the bedroom. Donated the couch she picked out. Threw out all the candles that smelled like summer linen or Moroccan spice or whatever nonsense names they gave betrayal. I replaced them with something better. Space. There's no scent quite like your own air. And then, one morning, it happened. I got to the kitchen, made my coffee, looked around, and didn't think of her. Not once. Not until now, writing this down. Which, by the way, isn't for her. It's for me. It's for you. Because if you're reading this, you're probably standing in the same shoes I did not long ago. Maybe not your slippers, but close enough. And let me tell you, when you finally take them off, when you stop carrying the weight of someone else's disrespect like it's your luggage to unpack, you feel lighter. So walk forward. Barefoot if you have to. Just don't stand still. Not for them. Not for anyone. Peace doesn't arrive like a marching band. It shows up quietly, like the first morning you wake up and forget to check if the other side of the bed is cold. After Aaron left, I started building a life that fit me. Not us. Just me. Turns out, I've been shrinking to fit our marriage for a while. The first thing I changed was the kitchen. Tossed out everything I didn't like. Blenders I never used, plates I never chose, mugs with slogans like wifey fuel. Then the routine changed. I got up early. Ran. Ate what I wanted. Wrote lists. Cleaned the garage. There's something therapeutic about order, about knowing that what's in your home is only what you allow in. And slowly, something unexpected happened. I started liking my life again. Not craving revenge. Not even closure. Just progress. And then, one evening about 2 months after she left, came the message that stirred something dormant. From her. Again. She wanted to meet. Said she had something important to say. Against my better judgment, I agreed. We met at a quiet diner. Neutral ground. She showed up 10 minutes late, dressed like she wanted me to notice, but not too much. Logan, she said, like it still held weight. I nodded. Sat across from her. She didn't order. Just fidgeted with a sugar packet. I've been seeing a therapist, she began. Good for her. Should have started sooner. She talked about regret. Confusion. Said she'd made the biggest mistake of her life. She cried a little. Said she didn't feel safe with the other guy. That he had anger issues. That things weren't what she thought. She was unraveling carefully, like a dress thread she hoped I'd help untangle. Then she said it. I'd like to come home. I sipped my water. Set the glass down. And said 4 words. That house is full. She blinked. With who? With peace. She stared at me. Eyes watering. You don't forgive me. I understand you, I said. And that's much worse. People assume the biggest revenge is destruction. No. The biggest revenge is thriving in the silence someone else left behind. After the diner, I didn't feel angry. I felt relief. Like I just closed a book that never should have been published. I threw myself into my work. Got promoted. Started going to the gym consistently. I didn't get ripped overnight, but I got something better, discipline. Friends started coming around again. Guys I hadn't seen in months. Turns out, When you're with someone like Aaron, you disappear slowly, and people stop checking in when they think you've already left yourself. One of those friends, Claire, invited me to a barbecue. I went. She introduced me to her friend, Nadia. We talked for 5 hours straight. Not about wounds. About books. Travel. The difference between solitude and loneliness. She never once asked about Aaron, and I never once mentioned her. That night, I got home and realized I hadn't thought about my ex-wife once the entire evening. That's when I knew. I was free. 2 weeks later, I got a knock at the door. A delivery guy, different one this time. Younger. Nervous. Package for Aaron, he said. I smiled. She doesn't live here anymore. He blinked. Oh, sorry. She used this address. I'm sure she did. He handed me the package. I looked at the return label. A clothing company. I debated returning it. Instead, I opened it. Inside, a sweater. My sweater. One she must have taken during the move, intentionally or by accident. Maybe it was her way of holding on. I folded it neatly. Walked to the backyard fire pit. Lit it. Watched it burn. Not out of rage. Not for some movie-worthy scene. But because some things don't need to be returned. They need to be released.